So I kind of wrote up a little bit of notes on the what basically this is a short after action report
Mm,
for the game
nice.
yesterday. Um, but before I get into that, I took several guns of mine down to the field to try and sell. I've just got too many basically,
Oh yeah.
and decided to try and move on a few of them. And I had a Glock 18C that I sold out of the field, and I had it for a couple of years, and it ran fine. But the one that I absolutely love and runs great, I was like, well, let me just use that, and this Glock is essentially excess. So, so I took that and I sold it to a character, and he paid me. Everything was fine. He showed up at lunch, and this gun was he had it in three pieces. The barrel had come out, the outer barrel, inner barrel had come out, the recoil spring was out,
What?
and it was all sandy. And
What
I was like,
happened?
"What did you
Oh
do?" And
my
he said, "Well,
God.
my friend told me I should clean it and lube it up, but it fell apart." And he's like, "I was probably use your air." And I was like, "Yeah, because the gun was perfect when I gave it to you,
Yeah, they don't
like
just fall apart
perfect."
like that.
Well, he didn't know how to take it apart. And the thing is I mean, I take good care of my stuff. I lubed and cleaned
Mm-hmm.
it just, I don't know, a month ago maybe, and
Yeah.
I haven't used it since. So it was fine. And I even demonstrated it before I sold it to him. Everything worked fine. Although it was like, I don't know, 35 degrees or something yesterday morning. So green gas doesn't work very good in the cold. So
Yep.
it did basically vent the gas out the mag
Right.
because it was just so cold it didn't work. But he knew that, and I told him that, and that gun he brought it back to me. It was sandy and greasy. I put it back together, but I was like, "You should not run this. You don't run this until you get it home and you get it cleaned up." And just lightly, he had too much grease on there, and somehow he had gotten sand in it, and it was gritty. You try and rack the slide, and you could just feel and hear the sand
Oh, the grittiness,
grinding
bro.
along there. And I was like, "This is rough, dude. You can't. Don't
Mm-hmm.
use this." He's like, "I just bought two more mags," and I was like, "You're gonna ruin the whole thing. Just put it
Holy
away.
cow.
Go home. Get it cleaned up." And he's like, "Okay." I don't know. The kid was 22, maybe, if I had to take a
Okay.
guess. But I mean, I'm 44. Everybody looks young. He could
Of
have been
course.
19. He could have been 35. I don't
Yeah.
know. He was
Oh
young.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I feel bad for him that it didn't, that, he had basically messed it up after I gave it to him working fine. But it's a
Yeah.
lesson to learn. It's a lesson learned. Don't mess with
For
stuff if you
sure.
don't know what it is and how
Yep.
it works. Just take a minute, watch YouTube, figure it out first, and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, when you clean stuff in the field, when you take, you break your gun down in the field, you got to have somewhere, just a little spot of something. Set it on your bag, set it in your backpack, set it on some grass that's, not dirt and
Yeah.
sand.
Yeah.
Like that's just basic common knowledge, I guess, if you've
Yeah.
handled, guns a lot. But, a lot of these guys are fairly new. They don't get the experience that you had or that I had in the military where it's repetition, repetition, repetition all the time, where these things are
Sure.
habit. So they go out, once every couple months and they're not really sure. Like, oh, I need to do this. What? Like if he would have racked it a couple times, just felt the action,
Hmm.
he'd been like, oh, it doesn't need lubed.
Right.
Like it
Right.
feels good.
Yeah. He told
So,
me he was just listening to his friend who told him he needed
yeah,
to clean it and lube it, and
nah,
he didn't know any better and just went with it.
yeah,
And that he'll learn a lesson on that. That's
yeah, for
fine.
sure.
It didn't so far. It didn't cost him anything to learn that lesson. I mean, I guess he didn't
Yeah.
get to use it for a couple hours, but that's cheap in ish. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
clean the grease out of there with a paper towel and then some
Right.
air and maybe some soap, but I wouldn't really use soap on it too much. Just trying
Yeah.
to get all that sand out of there. Figure it out. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, I sold a vest and a flashlight and a sight and some old BDU pants that I had for Andrew when he was a lot smaller. So, just kind of getting
Nice.
rid of some generic stuff that I just had too much of.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Taking it to a field like that, because I know a lot of people ask. We have that channel or that separate
Mhm.
channel on our Discord here that the buy, sell, and trade thing, and
Yeah,
people use Hop Up as well. There's a few places you can sell eBay or whatever, but taking it to your local field is a really good option as well.
it really is. The one usually it's fine. Certainly at smaller field days where the registration and chrono lines are fairly short, and if you get there early enough, you've got time. You can set your stuff up. It's kind of your prep side ahead of time. If you get your BBs loaded and you get your gear squared away first, then you've
Yeah.
got time to deal with those people that you're trying to sell to. Um, the issue with yesterday was that the SQ's field, it's super busy.
Mm.
They had about 200 people at the field yesterday.
Wow.
Huge game, huge game.
And it turned out to
And
be really nice weather.
it was really cold in the morning,
It
but
was
it was
cold.
beautiful in the afternoon. And a little
Didn't
overcast, but
rain.
that's fine. No worry of
Yeah.
rain. None for us. It was fine.
Yes. Yep.
Um, I mean, it's in Lexington, so it's a good 2.5 hours south of here.
Okay.
So it was great weather. It was a little cold in the morning, but to get moving around, I didn't sweat. I didn't fog. It was fine.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
benefit of playing in a little bit colder weather. You don't fog up as much. The
yeah,
your eye pro doesn't fog up too much.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So um, I want to talk a little bit about my new gun. I got an MTW for Christmas.
Yeah.
MTW is a Wolverine product.
Ooh, nice.
As you know, I have a P-Star, I have the
Yep.
Kythera, and it rock and rolls. It's great. The catch is it's mechanical and it's semi-auto only. And as we did from our testing, we were getting 6 to 7 rounds per second.
Right.
It's nice, but it's a little, I want to say more work, but yeah, you just can't full auto it at all.
Right.
It's just not possible. So this Wolverine MTW is 100% aluminum, and the engine is built into the upper receiver. And so it's all basically one piece where when you separate it like a real steel where it hinges forward at the front body pin,
Yeah.
and the engine is stuck in the top half and it's parallel with the barrel perfectly and everything's fine.
Wow.
Um, no gearbox, no
Oh, that's
gearbox
awesome.
shell, none of that stuff.
Yep. So this is built for. I've never seen one. So is this built for
For sure.
HPA?
It is. It's 100%. Wolverine
Yeah.
is the HBA company, and they have
Gotcha.
a sister company called Invictus.
Okay.
Invictus is their metal manufacturing company, and they make handrails and uppers and lowers. Um, and a lot of it's real steel spec, not completely. It's got essentially a certification from ATF to where it's not a firearm, but a lot of it is real steel grip, real steel buffer tube, real steel stock, um, real steel. You can use real steel rails, um, front rails. Just the big difference is the upper and lower receiver are definitely not real and they're not able to withstand real stuff. And it has a traditional outer barrel like an airsoft gun does. And you can use airsoft barrels, outer barrels, and inner barrels. And it comes with a proprietary hop up, but you can swap it out and use a traditional M M4 hop up on it too. So
Okay.
it's kind of the best of both worlds in that you get a lot of real steel parts that you can use. Um, it has perfect alignment with the engine and the barrel, which is kind of a big deal with HPA stuff, getting it to work perfectly.
Mm.
And it's all pre-made, pre-built, pre-made. You buy the whole thing right off the shelf. You plug an air tank into it, and it works.
Man, that's
It's
awesome.
plug and play, literally plug and play.
Yeah.
It takes a battery, like most all electromechanical solenoids HPA
Hmm.
systems do. It's got a Wolverine Inferno Gen 2 is the name of the engine. You can
Okay.
buy an Inferno Gen 2 and put it in an HPA gearbox or put it in a regular AEG gearbox and it'll work just fine. But this is essentially their pre-built rifle version of it. And I got the short one. It's the 7 inch. and I have a 7-inch suppressor on it, so it's kind of
Wow.
funny looking. But it's
Yeah.
the same suppressor I use on the Kythera. So
Okay.
instead of having a 14-inch barrel like I had on the Kythera, I've got a 7-inch barrel. So the whole thing is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Um, but it does it's amazing. It's amazing. It's super quiet, just like the Kythera was.
Yeah.
Actually quieter because you don't have the mechanical trigger clicking, and it does full auto. It can do semi and full, and it's just a little tiny. You just kind of touch the trigger and poof, off it goes. And it's amazing. I had a
Yeah.
great day with it, and it's full stock too. I changed the stock and grip on it, but as far as the air seal and the barrel and all that is completely stock. And I was easily making 150, 200 feet shots,
Woo.
uh, just pegging people.
That
And
is awesome.
yeah, it was amazing. I can only imagine what they make a 10-inch and a 14-inch version.
Yep.
Um, yeah, yeah. So it was overall yesterday was a great day, especially with the new gun. My new gun worked great. Andrew used my friend's ICS G33, which is a version of a G36, but
Mm.
it takes M4 mags, and
Nice.
my friend Chaz Gordon built that, and it runs amazing. It's got a great sound to it, great shape, great body, and it Andrew ran it all day and had no problems. And he
Yeah.
was my little 15-year-old's getting kills just as much as I am. So we had a great day. Nothing broken, nothing lost, nobody hurt,
Oh,
and
that's
we
always
killed
good.
people.
Yeah.
They killed us. I got tagged,
Yep.
one here and a couple in the back, couple in the arm.
People
Andrew got a
called their
couple in the
hits.
arm, but yeah, people were calling hits, and
No, no ragers.
overall, there were one or two issues with PD, but nothing outside of a normal airsoft. Oh, screw you type thing. But that's the
Right.
way it goes. It's going to happen when people get a little salty about getting overshot. It's
Oh
going to
yeah.
happen on a time. But overall, it was a great game.
That sounds
Um,
cool.
so the let's get into the after action report real quick. Um,
Yeah, I like that you wrote one. That's cool.
well, it's sort of a short outline, and Andrew and I talked through it quite a bit last night on the way home. So
Yep.
SK's Airsoft is in Lexington, which is 2+ hours away for us. So we drove down and spent the night at a friend's house last night, Friday night. So we didn't have to get up crazy early Saturday morning. We got there about 7:30, and there was already a line
Oh.
of 30-ish people waiting to get registered, and they didn't open till 8. They were like,
Okay.
"Oh, the line will go down. Wait till they open. The line will go down. We'll get our stuff set up." We got our stuff set up. We put up the for sale sign and had some stuff laid out, and the line got longer. It stayed longer until until 9:30 when they did registration, when they
Oh
did the
my
safety
god.
briefing. Well,
Wow.
they had 90 players register for a green team. They had 90 players register for tan team, and they had 20 players play on the plaid team, which is a special hand-picked team that I was on.
Oh, okay.
So it was 90 versus 90 versus 20. That's 200 people.
That's a lot,
A
bro.
big crowd.
Yeah.
Well, it took a while to get all those people registered in Chronode, and it took the whole time. So after safety brief, Andrew and I walked over and got registered, and he had managed to chrono first, but I was busy selling stuff, so I didn't quite get that done. But I went and chronoed after safety brief, and the MTW, I had turned it up a little bit, and it was a 50-foot blue tag. So I couldn't shoot anybody closer than 50 feet,
Hmm.
which that's okay. But the trouble is, I don't know if you know, but I run my AAP01 with tapped mags on
Yeah.
HPA. So I just unscrewed the gas valve on it and run it through an HPA tap with two lines coming out of my regulator. Well, that was a 20-foot. Pistols are supposed to be 0 foots.
Zero.
Well,
Yeah.
so it helped a little bit, but I didn't really use it. At lunch, I turned it down to be a 20-foot. The MTW I turned down to a 20-foot, but the pistol was still a 20-foot. And I was like, well, then I'm
Wow.
not even going to run the pistol. That's redundant to have two 20s.
Right.
I just took it off my whole kit and left it in the car and didn't have a 0 foot. And I was like, well, if I'm closer than zero, I'll just borrow a gun or throw a grenade or
Charge them and stab them.
a bang bang. I mean, throw my knife at him. I don't
Yeah. There you go.
know. Yeah, so that overall registration took a little while, but we did get started. It was pretty cold yesterday, like we talked about briefly. So it was a
now,
big group,
This
and they
this
had set it up to
operation
where,
was what, cryo or crypto?
yeah, the name of the game was called Crypto Cypher. So they had some boxes laid out throughout the field, and the boxes could be decoded with some scientists, and there were three NPC scientists in different
Mm.
outfits. And if you managed to get a scientist and take him to the box, he could tell you the code. Oh, wait, you had to have the manual, which were old Windows 7 instruction manuals.
Oh, that's awesome.
You got the manual, and then you had the scientist, and then you had the box. Once you combined all three of them, you could unlock it and program it to your team, and then your team would start gathering crypto money.
Hmm.
That crypto money could be used to was your points for the game.
Gotcha.
And green team and tan team both were collecting crypto points. Well, tan team, or excuse me, plaid team was our special team, and we were mercenaries. We could be hired by either team to help them out for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it was, however much they paid us. We would say, okay, we're on your team for 30 minutes.
Oh, that's cool.
So suddenly they had 15 to 20, I'm not going to say professional, but high level players join their side. And we had one mission: go take oil fields, or go take crossroads, or go get the scientist, or whatever they told us to do. We're like, okay, we'll go do it. And so we were assigned certain roles to go do, and they paid us money to do it. Well, they were gathering money from these little crypto timer banks, basically.
As long as
But
they
then
didn't
they,
get a blue screen of death, huh?
yeah, it was.
The Windows.
Gosh, I remember that on some old computers. Fortunately, I
Say
haven't
you
had
said
that in a
Windows
long
7,
time.
like, oh yeah.
Five, 10,000 points or whatever it is to go do these jobs. Well, one time they hired us for a 30-minute job to go clear out this village area and help Green Team take it. We did it in 8 minutes. We rolled up, took it over in 8 minutes, and then we're done. Okay, it's y'all's village. Bye, and we walked off. And so it would be so funny because we would say, okay, go take the village. We'd walk in, we'd take the village and be like, okay, plaid team, we're out. And we just all stand up and walk out.
Oh,
And whatever
jeez.
happened after that is on them because we were
Yeah.
done.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
available for a new contract.
All right, so like in between, after you get done with that contract, are you are you fair game to shoot? Can the other players, from either team, start blasting you? Like, can you get out that way, or how does that work?
Yeah, oh yeah. If they shoot, our rules of engagement were neutral unless fired upon. So
Gotcha.
we weren't attacking either team unless they decided to attack us.
Okay.
There was sort of a back alleyway near our base that we didn't want anybody going down. And at some point, there was a neutrality contract with the tan team to say, okay, you guys can use this back road. Don't attack us, and we won't attack you, and you can use that back road. And then later on in the game, in the second half of the game, the tan team double crossed us, and so we said, all right, you guys can't use that road anymore, and locked it down. And that meant they had to take the long way around from their spawn to a different point on the map, and
Oh,
that kind of put a problem in their deployment around the map.
yeah,
But I mean, you made us mad. You had a neutrality agreement here, and then they
yeah.
double crossed us, and I'll get to that story in just a minute. But overall, there were some giant styrofoam blocks, probably 18 inches by 2 feet by 24 inches, maybe a little
Hmm.
bigger than that, and they were essentially blocks of powdered sugar or cocaine or whatever you want to call it.
Gotcha.
And we used those. They were worth money, and we could collect those. Um, in the end, we collected a bunch of those. It was kind of neat because as the third faction, we could go wherever we wanted. The other team, if there were only probably 8 or 10 of either colored team, they wouldn't immediately start shooting at us. We could just sort of walk down the road, and because they knew if they started shooting at us, they were going to get schwacked. And so they just kind of left us alone, and we could go where we wanted.
Yeah.
And it was neat to be able to explore the field. I've been there plenty of times, but it was neat to explore the field and um, not have that. need to be secret all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There was there were a couple of times where there was a little bit of issue with in the first of the game because we switched sides several times right away. Green team hired us for 30 minutes and we took the village in, you know, 25 minutes. And so we were done. Well, not 15 minutes later, tan team hired us to go take the village.
Oh,
Okay, sorry, green team. We just helped you get it. Well, now we're going to come take it back from you.
oh, that's funny.
And so, just 10, 15 minutes later, we're back attacking the village, kicking all the green people out and helping the tan team to take it.
Uh,
And there was another, it was 45 minutes later. Hey, take the village again. Okay,
mm-hmm.
let's go take the village again. This time for green team. Sorry, tan team, you're out. And it was just back and forth for this one thing. I think we did it 3 or 4 times, just taking this
Wow.
one area. And whoever team wanted, it's kind of the crossroads, is what it's officially called. And it's in the middle of the map. If you hold that area and you get a lot of your guys there, it makes navigating the map a lot harder. And especially our base was just adjacent to that, roughly. And if they couldn't come near our base and they couldn't go near crossroads, then it was really hard to go the long way around the map. And whoever held that, I'd say they controlled the game, but it made it a lot easier for them to get around.
Gotcha.
So that was fun. Kicking people out of an area. We just roll in, 15 of us, and like literally throw grenades and full auto everything in sight, clear the
Oh
rooms,
God.
everybody's dead, and they'd be like, okay, y'all have this. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlie team out, and we just literally stand up and walk away.
Now you just wander the field after that,
No, we
or
kind
did
of
you have
went
a
back.
place to go back to spawn or
We
something?
we had our central base, which was adjacent to the central map point, which was convenient for
Gotcha.
us.
Yeah.
And we had side missions of basically disrupting the game. If there were those boxes that were accumulating points for a certain team and we knew it, we'd go turn it off.
Oh shit.
There were
What?
there were capturable spawn points, and we would just
Yeah.
go and set them neutral. So they
Oh
would fight.
man.
They would fight to take over this capturable spawn point, and if nobody was up there, we just walk up there and turn it neutral, so nobody could spawn there. They'd have to go get it again. And the
Oh, that's
boxes that
cool.
they thought they had turned on and were counting for them,
Right.
if nobody was guarding it, we just walk up and turn it off. Sorry, you're not getting points anymore.
Right.
And so they thought their CO thought it was theirs and they were doing well. And in fact, they got nothing for 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it was until they went back and checked on it.
I love that concept.
So yeah, that
It
was
sounds
neat.
like a really cool game setup that way.
Yeah, it really, and our CO was in communication with Green and Tan CO and the game admin. And the four of them coordinated really well to say, okay, this is the points, this is where you're at, this who owns what, who owns where, what do you want us to do? How do you want the game to flow best for the players? And so being on Charlie team or third team, we were really able to facilitate a good gameplay for everybody. And after the lunch break, I think green team was ahead by a good, no, tan team was up by a good bit. Um, and green team had captured a specific scientist, and tan team communicated with us, hey, go get the scientist for us. So we did. I mean, we walked right past the tan players, we walked right past the green players up to the scientist and said, hey, he's coming with us. And there were, I don't know, 10-ish green players, and at least 5 of them were kids.
Hmm.
And they weren't about to start shooting at 10 grown men with HPA guns. They just let it. We just walked up and took it
Yeah.
and walked down to the tan team. And as soon as half of us walked down to tan team and half of us stayed up with green guys. Well, they took the he was gonna buy, they were gonna buy the scientist from us. They're gonna pay us to go get him for him.
Right.
Well, we handed him over and then he shot us all instead of paying us. Not all of us, but half of us.
Oh
Okay,
man.
so well, there you go, double cross. Well, that
What?
made our XO and CO upset, and we're like, nope, that's not gonna happen.
Hell no.
And the 4 of us that were kind of on the top of the hill still with green team, we weren't quite sure what had happened, but all of a sudden our guys had dead rags, and I was like, that's not good. Let's walk down and figure out what happened. Well, as soon as we got halfway down the hill, we got shot. I was like, all right, bleeding out. We went back to spawn. The word went out on radio. All 20 of us rounded up at our base, came down the side road, and Tan Team ran. They ran
Oh,
out of
that's
their
horrible.
out of their position. The trouble is they ran right into Green Team, who was on the other side. So then they were sandwiched between Green Team and Tan Team,
Oh,
and every Tan player got killed.
yeah.
We took the scientist back and we said, Green Team, don't mess with us. You're not getting the scientist either. And we captured him and took him back to our base, and he was ours for the last 2 hours of the game. Nobody took him.
Oh my
And
God, that's funny.
we shut down the back road that was Tan Team's kind of secret access, and they were all mad. They're like, "Why did y'all do that? We were clear to go down this." I'm like, "Sorry, your CEO double crossed us. We're just enforcing it. You're not allowed to come through here anymore. If you do, you're going to get shot." And they're like, "But I thought it was okay." And I was like, "Guess what? It's not okay anymore. Go around.
Yeah.
Don't come this way."
Oh my
And
gosh.
green players tried to come through there, and from the opposite direction, I was like, "Nope, turn around. Go away. Don't come through here.
Take the
This is our
long way.
private. This is our private road now.
Yeah.
We own this. Don't come here." And it messed up the map for a lot of players. But
Right.
that's just gameplay. You got to figure it
Yeah.
out.
It sounds like it really, having you guys as a separate team like that could do those kind of things, really changed the dynamic. Especially the fact you could go in and turn off those boxes where they're not collecting coins or points or whatever, without doing the work for it. Like they do the work and then they just leave.
Yeah,
And you guys go turn them off, like bro, it changed the whole dynamic. Like you guys are keeping them moving, keeping them on their toes. That sounds really cool. So it doesn't get
yeah,
slow or boring.
yeah. We knew near the end of the game what the points were, and so we went and we knew who was beating us. So we went and captured a whole bunch of their cocaine blocks and took them
Yeah,
back to our base, and it took away their points and added to our points. Um, so I know the actual numbers for the winning score, but the announced winners at the end of the game, they weren't going to let 20 players beat 90 players, beat another 90 players. Like, that's
yeah.
just not going to happen.
Well, I was going to ask you. That was my next question. What you guys being in that position, like with your objectives and stuff, and then each team is giving you coins or points or whatever to
Exactly.
do their things. Could you guys actually win? Because it would be like you're getting points for all kind of different things,
Yeah.
getting paid from them and stuff. But
Essentially, both teams hired us so much that we had as much as they did.
yeah,
Even though we couldn't control the boxes, we earned points by contracts.
yeah,
And our styrofoam blocks are what put us over the top. So the numbers the way they were reported to me privately and to our team privately were uh, Plaid or Charlie Team won. The announced winners were Green Team won, and they put Charlie Team in third. Just they've got 180 players that they, as game admins, you want to run a good game, and you want
sure,
90 people to think. You don't want 90 people to think that 20 people beat them.
yeah.
Like even if
I mean that's real
20,
world though.
right?
Like the PMCs, the private military contractors, that's what you guys did. It's exactly what's happening in the real world.
Yeah.
They make a lot more money that kind of way. But yeah, that's funny, man.
Yep. So officially, Green Team won, Tan Team was second,
Gotcha.
and Plaid Team or Charlie Team was third. That's fine. We weren't there for the points. There was no
Right.
prize. There was just bragging rights, which we all know what happened on that field when the 20 of us got together and decided to schwack Tan Team. Literally chased them out of their position and chased them through the woods
Uh,
right into the other team and killed every one of them. And then Green Team saw that and were like, "No thanks." And
yep.
we took what we wanted and left. It was definitely a super fun way to play the game, and there were a few Plaid players that had never played that way before. I've done it a couple of times with other groups, and they said they want to do it again. They're like, playing Plaid Team or Third Faction is a lot of fun because you kind of got the freedom to go around the field, and
Yeah.
essentially both teams were told, don't shoot at them, they will shoot back at you. They're sort of neutral. They're not going to attack you if you don't attack them. And so that gave us the freedom to roam the field.
Okay.
And I knew our standard operating procedures were, don't shoot at players unless they shoot at you. And there was a point when I went to go flip one of the spawn points to neutral. Well, there were two or three tan players up there. I was like, I had them in my sights for 90 seconds. They were
Mm-hmm.
facing away from me, looking down over a hill, and I mean, I had the gun up and I was right on them, and I was like, should I shoot? Should I shoot? Should I shoot? And the one guy was pretty much blocking the other guy a good 85%. Like, I could get both of them. And it was like, the SOP is don't fire unless fired upon. And I was like,
Right.
okay, I can't shoot them. So I just wandered up to them, and they turned around and had the biggest deer in the headlights look like, what are you doing there? And how did you get behind us?
Where did you come from? Yeah.
I saw one of them had a green tag and one of them had a zero tag. I stayed, I mean, I knew at that point I had a 20-foot tag also. And so I definitely stayed my 20 foot away from them. And I appeared to see, if anybody owned this point and what was going on. And we talked for a few minutes, and I was like, look, basically green team's winning. Y'all need to get down there and start kicking butt and trying to take objectives. And I said my point was to come up here and flip this flag to nobody, back to neutral. But since there's a couple of y'all here, I'm just going to leave it be and go back where I came from. And that was fine. I really wanted to flip it, but I knew like officially I shouldn't just shoot them to shoot them.
Right.
Um,
Well, they had people
and
there guarding it, so they were at least, taking the
right,
effort to hold that point.
right. Since they were guarding it, there wasn't really much I could do about it.
Yeah.
I just let it be and wandered off back to where I came from. And then we moved on and did something else. I know a couple of our guys went and stole a bunch of the foam blocks from one of the other team's spawn and put them in our group. And we had 20 something blocks. And near the end of the game, we just stacked them up like little barricades and expecting people to come and get them back from us because we went and stole them from the other teams. And they knew we stole it from them. Like, can they do that? As we were walking away with all these blocks that are points, and we
Can
just
they do
walked off
that?
with them.
They just did.
It just happened, and are you going to try and fight us for it? It's really like being the bully on the field
Yeah.
in the schoolyard. Are you going to mess with the bully or not? And the bully kind
But
of,
you're
if he wants,
fair. But y'all
oh
are
right,
fair. Yeah.
right. I mean, we weren't going to take their lunch unless they gave us a reason to take their lunch.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, well that was with them fighting against them. But if we wanted their objectives, we
Hmm.
wanted their points, or we could kind of take it. Now it wasn't shooting people, but it was just taking points
Yeah.
and trying to score, which we did, and we did quite well at. And in the end, I think we won the game, but the announcement was different, and that's fine. We weren't there for prizes or anything.
Right. Well, it seems like when they do that, when they do this third, faction or third team or whatever, and I've heard a couple different scenarios like this. I think one of the ones that these guys played at GTI, they had a third faction that was like civilians, and they
Oh
were
yeah,
kind of like, just to I think you were there too, actually.
I was at that game. Yeah.
And yeah, and I think they started doing these to kind of balance the game out, because when these, you got 100 people on each team, and you come up, and and most people out there playing are not uh, tactically experienced.
Correct.
Like,
I would
hey,
agree.
let's break up into 5 to 10 man fire teams and flank over here, and it's like they just move en masse, and,
Mhm.
and so huge groups of them get knocked out. The game kind of gets stale.
Yeah. Well,
These
that
third
and
factions are nice.
they also end up returning to spawn and coming deploying from spawn one at a time.
Mm,
And so one person or two people get killed and they bleed out and they go back to spawn and they grab a water, whatever they do, and they turn around and walk back up to the field. It's like one person joining the firefight doesn't do a hill of beans.
mm-mm.
It really doesn't change anything.
Right.
And you've got to be concerned about, okay, am I going to get picked off by a random person
Yep.
before I even get up to where my team was? And you've got to be slow and methodical as you progress through the field, specifically at GTI. Um, but if you wait and you deploy with a group of six and you have one person who has some movement experience, it's a totally different group, completely different group, because you're able to actually do something.
Yeah.
And that game at GTI that I'm thinking of from basically a year ago,
Hmm.
they actually had four teams.
Oh,
They
okay.
had tan versus green versus black versus civilian.
That's what it was. Yep,
and
they did have a
your
black team.
boys were on black team.
That's right.
I was green, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm with a group of guys. We're going back in April, and I
yeah.
think I saw Johnny sign up for that game,
Oh,
but I'm
okay.
not 100%. I'm pretty sure I saw him. He was interested or going. I'm not sure which, according to the Facebook post.
They did say
Um,
something about they were going to go again in a few months.
okay. Yeah, so they're probably going back at the same time I'm going in early April.
Cool.
Um, yeah, so I think we're going.
I think that game. I think we have you on video where you. I think that's one of the ones where you came up to Colton and Chris,
I
and they didn't
did.
recognize you,
I did.
and
And I
you
tried
took
to
your.
film too.
Yeah, I know, I know. Well, they
I
were
was
already
surprised.
walking. I think they were just getting ready to walk back to spawn anyway,
Yeah,
and you came up and were talking to them. I was like, because you
yeah.
had the green, yeah, and they
Yeah,
were
I was
dressed in
being,
black.
I was trying to assassinate them basically. I mean, the respawn rules for that game were nuts. They were
Mm-hmm.
nuts. Self heal bandages, and you could think a player was shot and was dead, and he wasn't dead. And so the rules were to double tap people. Basically, you
Yeah,
shoot them from a distance, and you need to come up and you need to knife kill them. You need to
that's what it
say,
was. Yeah,
you need to get in their face and say, put your hand up, bleed out, start bleeding right now, or take a hike.
yeah,
You're go to spawn. There's no medic for you. Put your hand up and walk. And because the self heals threw a whole new dynamic to it. And it
yeah.
did work out to my advantage at one point. I was under one of the pipelines at that field and got shot by a player. It was the end of Sunday, and I medicked myself, and the guy was like 2 feet from me around the same barricade. Like he could have easily basically killed me.
Yeah.
And um, I was hit and I had my hand up, but I didn't have my dead rag out and I wasn't walking out. I was still just hit at that point. And I managed with my other hand to put on one of those stupid bracelets. You know, the ones that you get at concerts and things that you have to pull the
Yep.
tape off of. Yeah, you got to do that one handed. It's not
Oh
easy.
my God. Yeah.
It's not
For
easy.
real. And do you have gloves on too?
Yeah, you got gloves on. Well, I mean, you
Oh,
can pull your gloves off, but yeah, trying to
right.
do that, it's obvious when you're doing it because you've got to pull your glove off. You've got to dig
That's
it
what I'm
out of
saying.
your
If you're trying to do it in like stealth where they don't see it, like
yeah,
you got to take your glove off, like this whole
yeah,
process.
yeah, and you got a mask on, so it's not like you can like bite the sticky tape part off of it off. I mean,
Uh-uh.
it's not easy to do. But the kid wasn't looking at me, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, all right, pull this thing out, trying to do it one hand. It was a mess, but I got it off, and then I silently drew my pistol and held it up to him, and I was like, call it or I'm shooting you. He's like, what? You're dead. I said, nope, self heal bandage. I'm alive, and you're gonna call it or I'm gonna shoot you like literally point blank. And he's like, hit. And I said, okay, and I put it back, and I said, all right, knife. Call it. You're dead. Put your dead rag on, or I'm gonna basically this is a stealth kill.
Yeah, you double tap.
And
Yeah, you got him out.
right. And he was like, put his dead rag on, and at that point you're dead. You can't be bandaged back
Hmm.
up. You got to bleed for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it is, and then you're done.
Go back to spawn or whatever.
And so I medicked myself right back in, and then started shooting all his friends, or shooting at his friends, anyways. And later on, I saw him after the game, and he was like, "That could even happen during the game." And that was kind of the issue with that GTI game was the
Right.
medic rules were super weird, and it was
Yeah, they seem confused about it.
end of day Sunday, and some players didn't even know about it, and
Right.
they went through it on safety briefing, and they should have gone. Each CO should have gone through it and passed out those
Exactly.
advantages.
Yep.
But some people just miss stuff. They're not paying attention. It's their first
Sure.
game or whatever it is, and
Yep.
it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I remember when you came up in that video, you came up to Colton was like and he was like I didn't know you could, people could do that or whatever, and like,
Yeah,
oh yeah. They were probably too worried about getting their Airbnb set up back then, they for the weekend. Uh
yeah. So that's interesting. Do they know that GTI has these barracks that you can stay at?
they've never mentioned it.
There's barracks and they're cheap. I think I paid 150 for 2 nights for a double. So $75 a night for two people. So
Yeah.
$35 a person a night. to stay in these barracks, and it's like a dorm room basically. You get a twin bed that are almost barracks like. It's a twin bed and a footlocker and a nightstand and a lamp, and
Yeah.
there's a bathroom. There's like a little kitchen in the common room, and the bathrooms are in a separate trailer.
Huh.
It's like 10 trailers all strung together, and the middle trailer is a bathroom trailer and a shower trailer.
Yeah.
And you can stay there cheap, but for two people, an extra $75 on top of a ticket, it's not a ton of money. And you get to stay there and have a hot shower and have air conditioning, excuse me, or heat and no bugs and electricity to microwave your food and power to charge your electronics. And I mean, it's totally worth it to
Yeah.
stay at those barracks.
Well, over the year, a couple years that since we started, when they were doing gameplay, they kind of they there was a lot of changes they went through. So the first mil sim, there it was a full. I think it was the Vietnam, um,
Okay.
event, and it rained like downpoured the whole
Oh,
weekend.
that's
So
awful.
they're trucking through the sloppy mud, and their guns are just everything's soaked, and
Yeah.
it was 24-hour gameplay.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. Vietnam
So
Patrol
you
was
had to,
fun for me.
right. So then I think then over the years, last couple years, they went from, okay, we'll just sleep outside, we'll take tents. So they started buying all this stuff, and so then they'd go to another event and they're like, oh, my sleeping bag's not good enough, so I get this. So they started kind of building up stuff to stay outside and stay on the field. Well, then they're like, man, hell with all this. We're just going to get an Airbnb, and we're going to, live in style and just go, play the game.
Mhm.
So they were going through that phase when they were at that event, and it was like they were trying to get better and better, uh, places to stay that were close
Yeah.
to these areas. And I was like, bro, y'all. I mean, do you want the full experience? I
Mhm.
mean, if you just want to go, but why are you? Because I would ask him, why are you doing a milsim? Like, just go to a 1 day event.
Yeah.
Because y'all are doing the milsim is called military simulation. Like, bro, you're over here. I'm going to show up for 4 hours to play a game and go back and kick back in my Airbnb that's like a hotel
Mhm.
with a
With,
fucking big
yeah.
screen TV. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, and then they're
So
gonna, cook food and drink and
yeah,
hang out and FaceTime with their girlfriends or whatever, and it's
yeah,
like, okay, this is supposed to be Milsim type stuff. Now, granted, it's not Milsim West, which is true, in the field, ruck everything in,
right.
is which is fine. I enjoy going to lunch. I enjoy taking an hour break during a long game
Sure.
and going back and changing socks and
Yep.
reloading all my BBs and filling my Camelback and having lunch. I enjoy that. That's good. It makes for better gameplay for me. I get rejuvenated.
Of course.
But I kind of was thinking about it the other night, and I was like, maybe eventually I will try one of those Milsim West ones where you've got to literally ruck your entire sleep system and food and water
Yeah.
in for a 36-hour gameplay. That's a different aspect I've not done yet, a different adventure. I think I
Yeah.
want to start with Vietnam Patrol first because it's local and it's way cheaper. But it's similar in that it's 24 hours or 36
Right.
hours, whatever it is. And yeah, there's all night gameplay. I mean, I've got stories of friends playing crying baby noises over a PA system at 3 in the morning to torture the other team.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they would just turn on a crying baby noise or the
Yeah.
Macarena or whatever it is through a
Like,
bullhorn
bitch, you ain't sleeping.
and project it to the field just to piss off the other team and keep them from
Yeah.
sleeping.
Right.
I mean, it's warfare. Have at it.
Yeah. 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 I guess there's probably not the 1 day events. There's not really a whole lot of in between. You got 1 day events and then you got 3 day milsims, and if you don't allow like these milsims, if they don't allow that kind of flexibility, they have to, right?
Yeah.
Because that kind of makes up a good balance some of the guys that want to do like what they were doing. Now they've slept in the field. They've slept, on the grass the whole
Mhm.
weekend. They've done it, but they you have to have kind of cater a little bit to most of the players that look. I'm not here to, they're like a lot of players aren't there to get this 3 day military training.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
exactly.
they want to have fun uh, and not bust their ankles because they're so tired from being up most of the night where they're stepping a hole and whatever. They're not trying to get in shape for the weekend. Like it's just, hey, I'm here to play airsoft, make it fun, want to have a good experience and experience everything I can without going all out, that kind of thing. So I
I,
understand the balance.
yeah, that's the balance point. Is it caters to the people who for them this game is a hobby. It's something they
Yeah,
do for fun on the
yeah.
weekends, and they have real jobs and they have real lives. And if I go home with a broken ankle, it really impacts my life and makes my
Oh,
job
for
much
sure.
much harder. And
Well, you're older. I mean, bro, I was in the
hey,
military when I
hey,
was
hey,
19.
I am not older.
I'm saying older than 19. I was in the military at 19. Like when you're 19 to 23, bro, you can do,
Oh,
like
yeah,
pretty much whatever, and bounce back.
sensual.
You're not old. You're older than 19.
Yes, dude, I am solidly middle aged. If I make it to 90, I'll be quite happy.
There you go.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I totally get where
And
you're
you
coming
look
from.
great, by the way.
Oh,
No one
thank
would
you,
guess your
thank you.
age. I promise you.
I put a hat on and I look way younger.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
everybody does.
Same
Well,
with me. I wear a hat for
yeah,
work, and people are like, "Oh, you're young." And I'm like,
yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. I got grandbabies, but I don't. You
I'm
do.
old as hell. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I got grandkids.
Um, yeah. So that middle ground is for me. It's the sweet spot. There's Friday, Saturday,
Sure.
Sunday games. You drive out. You play like a couple hours Friday night. You play most of the day Saturday, and a touch of Sunday morning, and you drive home.
Yeah.
And you end up taking one day off of work, and you get um, 12, 15 hours of airsoft in. That's a lot, at
Yeah. It's a
least.
lot.
Yeah, 12 or 15 hours. Let's see, four, that's 16. The four, I mean, yeah, 16 to 20 hours of airsoft in. That's over 3 days. That's a lot.
Well, the other
And
thing was too. It was they loved the gameplay, but they loved the balance of the whole weekend was like an escape. It was like a little mini vacation.
it is,
So
yeah.
hey, I'm gonna go do what I like to do. Have fun with a camaraderie. You build this teamwork. You meet new people. You have fun playing, and then you go back and kick back in the hotel or Airbnb or wherever, get comfortable. And it's almost like a little bit, mini vacation, So they travel, they prep, they pack, and then they go play, and they go out to eat, and then they go back to the room and watch something. Like
Mm,
it's a really cool experience. I always joke with them because military, and I'm
mhm.
like, this is
I get
military
it.
simulation. You're young. What are you doing? Like, you're kicking back in a freaking hotel while somebody's out there at night.
Yeah.
I was just busting their balls.
No, but I totally get it. When I've done 2 or 3 games out of state, and yeah, we get a hotel room, and
Yeah.
it's a Days Inn type place, Motel,
Hmm.
not quite Motel 6, but yeah, Motel 6, Red Roof Inn, whatever it happens to be.
Sure.
And it's not fancy, but it's a place to take a shower and go to the bathroom and
Yep.
brush your teeth and watch TV and charge your accessories.
Yeah.
Having electricity is really overlooked when you go camping versus staying in a place like
Telling you.
all these airsoft guns run off batteries and
Yep.
flashlights, and possibly an X-Fog system needs charging. Your phone needs charging. All that stuff is important. And the Black Star Crisis game that we were just talking about a few minutes ago, I camped at that one. And
Oh yeah.
it
Yeah, that's
was
right.
32 degrees that weekend, and I camped. I had like an 8-person tent, and I
Yeah.
put up a tent and um, two or three sleeping bags and a cot, and put everything together and just slept out overnight. And my friend's got a battery box for me, so I was able to charge things. But where to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night? You got to get up and walk across to the porta johns, which kind of not ideal, that's for sure. But
Dig
um,
a hole.
yeah, Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
But yes, I slept out over there, and then not having electricity was definitely something I was like, okay, I got to pay attention to this. And I
Yeah.
had a little battery box thing that I was able to charge stuff with, but when I found out when all my friends were in these dorms, I was like, I'm definitely doing that next time because they had power, they had beds, they had microwave. There wasn't a TV or anything, but there was a small lounge. We sat around and drank beer and hung
Yeah.
out for a little bit. And
Yeah. It's a
it wasn't as fancy as an Airbnb. We were sitting in somebody's living room, with the Knicks game on and just hanging out.
yeah.
But it's fine. Um, yeah, it was overall. It was a really good time that Black Star Crisis one, and I'm hoping to go back. I know we're going back to GTI in a couple of months, and um, I've got a roommate, and I think a few others of us are doing the dorms, and hopefully we'll be assigned to the same dorm. If not, we'll figure it out. And we'll hang out, and have a good time. I hope to see the boys down there. Do you know? You have no idea what team they're going to be on, are you?
No, I don't. I don't know for sure if they're going. I just know that they said this last one they came back from. They did say that they were going to go back to GTI in a few months. I
Okay.
didn't know what operation or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Now
think I'm going green team,
you know
but I
who
don't know.
else? Rob. You
Yeah.
know the young guy that's on our channel. I
Yep.
think you met him before. Um, oh no, you didn't meet him in person, but
No,
you've
I've
seen him
seen
on
him.
our.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a podcast with him. He's he lives down by Columbia, and
Okay.
he actually, you and him, and told me about this event on Saturday. I had to go to a wedding, but he was there.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not sure what team he was on.
I remember
I don't
that.
know if you ran into him, but
I didn't. I remember seeing him mention in the Discord that he was going too, but we
yeah,
ended up never linking up to talk about, um, you know, saying hi or seeing each other or anything like that. That
right.
didn't We didn't match up. But um, yeah, overall, this weekend was a great event, and I got to try out my new MTW. Andrew used my friend's G36, which I had used once or twice before, but he got to run it all day. And I had two other guns, the RDB and the Kythera, were literally sat in a
Oh
gun
yeah,
box and didn't even get used.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
two
dude,
amazing,
with that
amazing guns.
MTW, I would love to do a video on that thing.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, for real.
My suppressor's got a little bit of an issue where the babies are hitting on it and not going
That
straight. So
insulation in there, yeah,
yeah, yeah, that chicken wire in there is off by a little bit, and
right.
it did that once before. I took it apart and rebuilt it. I'm interested in some foam inserts, so I'm going to do some research and see if I can figure out a different solution.
Gotcha.
Um, it's mostly stock for now, and overall it ran great. Yeah, one of these days when we get a sunny day in the next, couple of weeks or whatever,
Yeah,
and you get a free weekend and I get a free weekend, we'll manage to get together and shoot a small video on it. That'd be great.
I'd love it. Yeah, it'd
Yeah,
be cool.
I know I've got a picture of me and Andrew and some of the Charlie team, and I've got the MTW pictures. I've got a handful of those.
Cool.
I can get a picture of the E36 pretty well. I think that was mentioned in there. Um, you know, if you want to put in the stuff about the Glock, I don't have any pictures of that, but it's just a standard Glock 18C.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fine. And an
if I
SQ,
would
I have when you got when you're like talking about that field, I already
mhm.
have pictures from their website.
Place. I don't know how many acres it is, but it's a large place.
Yeah,
And I don't know if you know the landscape, but that Columbia area is really sandy. That's where a
yeah,
lot of the sand mines are for all the concrete that gets mixed here in the state. A lot
yeah,
of it comes from that area. And their field, generally, the parking lot is at the top of the hill, and generally the field slopes away from the house and the road and parking lot area. Um, and it's a sandy walk, and there's a lot of sand there.
yeah.
There's a couple of high points, but generally the field just goes gradual slope away from everything, and so there's definitely some few high points that are key landmarks. I don't know if they have a field map, but it'd be cool to pull up a field map
They
if you
do
have. Oh,
actually. Yeah.
good. Okay.
hmm
I've not. I don't think I've seen that. I need to get one of those.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
definitely lost. I've been there a
Well,
handful of
I mean,
times.
it's on their website. Kind of like
Okay.
a broad overview.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
giant one. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I need to get one of those printed and laminated on like a 4x6
Yeah.
card or something
Yes.
with
Yes.
the landmarks put in,
Yeah.
just to and shove it in my vest so I can be like, okay, where
Put it on
am
your
I?
little, get one of those little armbands, like the quarterback armband. Why are you shaking your head? I'm not even done talking. You're shaking. You're shaking your head. Come on, you can just pull it up and look. Flip it up like the quarterbacks do.
Uh,
You started shaking your head as soon as I said that.
I knew what you were going for immediately, and I was like, no, not gonna happen.
uh,
I'll just stick it in my chest. I'll pull it out when I need to
uh,
see it and stick it back in. I know
that's
what you're talking about, and
yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen those before. I think
I
some,
I like that you're old school on some of that stuff, bro.
yeah, yeah, no thanks.
That's good.
Yeah, it'd be neat to know where I was going. I went to a couple of spots on this field. I've been there 3 or 4 times before, and I went to a new POI yesterday, place I've never been before. I was like, this is new, never been here. I've heard of it, but I've
Yeah.
never been there, and it was
Well,
neat to
because you were
know.
on that third team, you were able to kind of like wander around a little bit more and
Exactly.
explore. Yeah.
Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I guess I
Cool,
need to
man.
get that printed out. A friend of mine made one for Bluehole for me, which
Mm.
is neat. Um, which, speaking of which, I got to figure out where we're going next. I guess the boys' next event is going to be that GTI one. Then we think.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Mm.
Okay. And they really need to go play some local games, just a 1 day Saturday game. Those are so much fun, and you mean it's literally you can play. You can show up at 9 o'clock. You can show up at 8:30 and play until 3, and
Yeah.
you get your fix of airsoft for the day. You make sure all your kit, you work it out. Does your gear work or not? And you can just go. You can just run light. Just run a simple AEG, a couple of mags, a couple of BBs, and a bottle of water, and some Easy Face Pro, and just go
Right.
for the day. You don't have to go with comms and a helmet and HPA system and a plate carrier and be all super fancy about it.
Yeah, that
Especially
is
when it's
nice.
warmer, you can just run. It's a short thing. Like, you need a small backpack with a bottle of BBs and a bottle of water. You just drop it at your spawn point and you just go, and when you run out, just go re-up your water and your BBs and get back on the field.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
easy.
love that there's, in our kind of vicinity, within a couple hour drive, you have SQ, you've got Blue Hole, you got Columbia Airsoft,
Mhm.
and GTI. You've got all these different places. You've got CQB, you've got outdoor, you got full on mill sims, you've got
Mhm.
indoor mill sims. GTI has all that
Yeah,
indoor,
yeah.
like, you know, close quarters kind of stuff, in the dark, whatever.
Mhm.
Like, there's all these different variable or, just setups for you
Sure.
guys to play within a couple hour drive in South Carolina. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. There's a new field that just came on with us with AOSC that's in Rock Hill.
Okay.
It's a paintball and airsoft field that starts. I think their opening game is next weekend or weekend after that,
Oh, wow.
and it's in Rock Hill. So there's a new field, which Rock Hill from here isn't, but it's 2 hours ish, hour and 45
Right.
minutes, depending on how you get there. There's Red Fox in
Oh, that's right.
Duncan
Yeah.
area. There's Paintball Central, which is in Duncan area. There's a new field that we started a year ago in Spartanburg area that's called Spartanfelt, and they have a
Mm,
40 acres behind their business that they let us run games at. So
okay.
there's 3 fields in Spartanburg area. There's one in Rock Hill, Battle Cats in Anderson,
Battle Cats. That's right.
Airsoft Columbia, SQs. There's a new one down in Charleston called Airsoft Charleston, I think, and
Mm,
it's 7 or 8 acres.
okay.
There's a
That's a
Black
pretty
Ops
area.
Black Ops paintball is down in Charleston as
Black
well.
Ops. That's down, yeah, by Myrtle Beach.
Um,
Yep.
or yeah, there's a Black Ops in Fayetteville that I went to a month ago. That place is amazing.
Really?
It's almost better than GTI. It is amazing.
Really?
It is amazing. Like,
Did they have
we
a big
were,
operation you went to, or you
they
just went to
they
check it
did.
out?
Yeah, they had a big operation, 200 players, and um, a 2 day op. Yeah, for all day Friday and half a day Saturday. No, all day Saturday, half a day Sunday, and absolutely amazing field.
Hmm.
I've My new favorite field. The trouble is, it's 4 hours
Really?
away from me.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny is my cousin well, it's my cousin's son, lives in Myrtle Beach. He works at the Black Ops paintball in Myrtle Beach. He found our channel like the first 6 months we started our channel. He found our channel scrolling through, I
Yeah,
guess it was suggested or whatever. And he texted me. He was like, "Bro,
yeah,
you started a YouTube channel. You guys are doing airsoft." He's like, we because they started switching over to airsoft stuff, at
okay,
Black Ops. But yeah, that's funny, man. I didn't know they had one in North Carolina as well.
yeah, yeah. There's
That's
the one in
awesome.
Fayetteville. It's huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah,
Two-story metal connex structures, um, swamplands, forts and villages, and what do they call the concrete culverts, the drain pipes,
oh, the drain
basically.
pipes. Yeah,
Yeah,
culvert
yeah.
pipes. Yeah, yeah.
Huge field of them. There must have been 100 of those things laying down,
Holy
standing up.
cow.
Huge field of that. Just
Yeah,
those things. I mean, you could put 20 on 20 in just that little area easily.
yeah,
And that was a small portion of the field. Um, the woods, oh man, just everything. The place is
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Definitely the boys need to go. They need to check out the next games that are posted over there at Black Ops in Fayetteville. They will love it. It's awesome
Yeah,
place.
that sounds awesome. Well,
Yeah.
listen, let me ask you this. Did they have a giveaway at the end, like a raffle?
The SQ game, yeah, they did have a raffle. They gave away an AK. They gave away two red dots.
Hmm,
No, one was a red and green dot. One was just a red dot. They gave away a Sima AK maybe, and another rifle and a pistol. Yeah, they gave away three guns and two sights.
okay.
I know the pistol was like a CO2 blowback. The one of the rifles was an AK, and the other one must have been an M4, but probably a G&G of M4, but I don't recall for sure. I met some new friends. I had a great time. Yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful
that's always
weekend.
good.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
got one wound here and a couple others. Oh, I do have one more story. My You've met Andrew at my house the other day, a couple weeks ago when you came by.
Yeah.
Um, he and I were walking down that back private road, and his gun had a 20-foot MED. He was walking down the road and just kind of swinging his gun like this, and he shot me in the back from 5 feet away.
Oh,
And kind of okay, kind of the soft, fleshy bit of your
oh,
kidneys right here.
yes. The love
Holy
handles.
crap!
Yeah, that's so
It
sensitive.
it stung. It
Oh, I'm
hurt a
sure.
lot. But it's an airsoft shot. It hurt for 30 seconds or 45 seconds, and then the pain went away.
Yeah.
But I looked at it later. I was bleeding.
Oh,
Like
jeez.
he drew blood. So
Yeah, it's point
his
blank.
yeah, his revenge is coming. One of these days, I'm just gonna dump cold water on him when he's in the shower or something
There
like
you
that.
go.
Man, he deserves it.
Did he learn his lesson from trigger discipline?
For trigger discipline, yeah, he said he was super sorry and that he wasn't gonna do it again. But um, I don't know. It's airsoft. It's gonna
Of
happen.
course. Yeah.
As long as you're not messing with it in the safe zone. You get out as long as your mags are out in the safe zone.
Right.
You're on the
Right.
field. You're gonna expect to get shot at all
Right.
times from every direction. Just hopefully it's not from your own child from 5 feet away.
Well, you got a story for it, and he learned a lesson from it.
I hope he
That's all
did.
good.
Yeah, I hope
Oh,
he
I'm
did. He
sure.
said he was sorry.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah. I
good to know.
mean, the pistol grip part that's for carrying, gripping it,
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
the trigger not the trigger
yeah.
area. Your finger stays out here, or you can just move your finger down if you're just kind of walking
Yep,
and just hold the whole pistol grip with with all your fingers, so you don't.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's funny.
yeah.
Cool, man. Well, it's been really nice, man. I'm so glad you were flexible with the time and availability to get on here with me. And I've really enjoyed doing these podcasts because I feel like I get to know a lot of our viewers a lot better. And you and I have been like face to, we don't live that far apart. We've met face to face. You've been to my house a few times, and I've been to yours.
Yeah.
But doing these podcasts, I love hearing the stories of your guys' events and all the different things that go with it. So I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. I've had, we've been friends for, gosh, almost 2 years now, a year and a half, anyways.
Yes,
And it feels like it's longer than that, but
right,
that's just because I've been to your house a handful of times, and you've been here a handful of times, and we've really enjoyed getting to know each other and hanging out. So,
for sure.
I really hope that, one of these days you'll put on the kit and come for a day kit and come pew with me. It'd be fun. Even
That
if
would
we
be
just kind
awesome.
of walk slow and hang out in the back and shoot long range, that's fine.
Yeah,
Come on out.
yeah, for sure. I would love it.
All right.
Well, thanks, man.
Cool. Yeah,
I
brother.
appreciate you, brother. All
All
right.
right. Take care.